Okay, let's start our webinar today. Assalamualaikum and hi to each one of you. We are truly excited to have you join us today, and we extend our sincere gratitude for your valuable time and interest in this webinar. So for those joining us for the first time, a heartfelt welcome to you. So before we embark on our session, let me introduce myself. I am Farida and I will be your host throughout today's event. So we are also fortunate to have Ms. Nurul on board, providing technical assistance as needed. This session marks as the 9th of our QGIS webinar series titled Partial Data Viewing and Specific Data Exports in QGIS. Before we proceed, let's cover a few technical aspects as usual. Rest assured, this webinar will be recorded and the recording will be made available either by day's ends or in the upcoming days. I will keep you updated on this matter. So you can also find the recording on our official website for your convenience. Now, let's dive into a brief note about your Zoom users or display name. We kindly request that you adjust your display name to reflect your first name. This small gesture will facilitate smoother interaction during our Q&A session. We can address you better. So it's a straightforward process as outlined in the slide. Quick tutorial to update your name. So just click on the participant icon and then locate your current registered name. Access the three dots located beside the mute button and opt for the rename option to make necessary change. So we also kindly request that you mute yourself during the presentation. For question session, the presentation will take around 40 minutes, followed by a dedicated 20 minutes Q&A session. Feel free to ask your question. Simply type them into the chat box and we will address them during Q&A. You are welcome to post your question in either Bahasa or English. Okay, so let's conclude the technical details. So let's proceed. Prior to starting, let's take a quick moment to introduce our presenter, Ms. Elias. Bringing more than 27 years of experience in GIS consultancy, our speaker boasts a deep understanding of the data manipulation, quality assurance, data analysis, integration, ETL processes, desktop GIS, and also GIS customization. Having contributed his expertise to a spectrum of industries in GIS implementation, he holds a wealth of knowledge in this area. So Ms. Elias is also certified in a range of GIS and ETL tools. For those who may not be familiar with the ETL acronym, it represents extract, transform, and load. These are essential techniques employed for advanced data conversion, data migration, and data integration purpose. We believe that you will derive value from today's session. And without further ado, I will now hand on the floor over to our esteemed speaker, Mr. Elias, and the floor is yours. Mr. Elias, over to you.
So this, as I said, this is part of our webinars that or our QGIS course that we provide, and we extract some of the information. Some of the information that we provide in these webinars are not included in our training, and some of the information that we have in our training are not included in the webinar. In this specific session, so on the menu today, we have done the introduction. We will be talking about filtering data for display, selecting data from the attribute table, selecting data interactively from the canvas, other selection methods, and exporting specific data. And at the end, we will have a Q&A session. Let me see. Let's go now. Let's check our slides. Filtering data for display. So what's the purpose? If when we have the layer list, I'm sure that you already know what is the layer list. So when we right-click on the layers, we have an option called filter. When we click on filter, a query builder window dialog opens. From there, we'll be able to choose which field we want to base our filtering from. And QGIS will provide us with the unique values in that specific form. We can then just select, click on test. It's a good thing to test our expression. And then we just, once we are ready, we just click OK. And from there on, the result of our query, we will have just, in this specific case, the Johor state, meaning just a subset of our data, which will be displayed on our map. Okay, as you can see, when we open the attribute table, we have only the Johor field, the Johor state information. What I will show you later on, what we'll be able to see is that when we create a filter, on the right-hand side of the layer name, you will have a filter, a small icon filter. This shows that the data is being filtered, that you are displaying just a subset of the data and not everything. And if you want to remove the filter, what you need to do is just right-click, go to filter again, and in the dialog box, you just have to click on clear. When you take a look again at the layer list, you will see that the layer, the icon for filtering is no longer appearing, meaning that the data displayed is full data and not only a subset of the data. Okay, let's take a look at, let's give it a try on QGIS. As you can see here, maybe what we'll do is let's choose maybe Sabah or Sarawak for this. So I just right click. Then I click on filter. Filter, oh, okay. I forgot to inform that it's good to take a look at the attribute table first to check out your table. I know that in my case, the NAM, meaning NAMA or name field, is the one that we need. It's good to take a look just to see which one is the right field that you want to use. Okay, I close this. So right click on states, click on filter. So I double click on NAM field. I click on equal. You can always type it if you want to. And here you can just click on sample. We take all the unique values from the field NAM. So let's see. I can just type it actually. Sarawak, S-A, okay. Then I will just double click. You can see that in this case, all our information is in capital letter, yeah. So I'd click on test. I can see that I have 32 rows. I click OK. As you can see that now, only the data for Sarawak is being displayed. If I right click, zoom to layer, it will zoom to my data. Okay. We see later what's the purpose of filtering the data, what's the use. If I go back to the to our slides. Another way to select the data is from the attribute table. So if we look here, if we open our same attribute table, I click on field filter. I choose the same filter, NAM. From there, I will just type, for example, Kedah, and the data from Kedah will appear. It will display on the table, only the Kedah values. But we will see, I'll explain to you what's the difference, all right? And I will show you also the advanced filter expression. The advanced filter expression and see what's the difference with the field filter that we used earlier. Okay. Let's see. So I'll go back to QGIS. What I will do is I'm going to right click. I'm going to duplicate this state, the state layer. So I have duplicate layer. Instead of states, so I'm going to remove the filter for states, right click, click on filter, and then clear the filter, click OK. You can see that all the states have appeared. And I will have here the copy of state. So one of the reasons why we do that is, let me rename this. I just put here Sarawak. Turn on the layer. Then I have states. Turn on the layer. Let me choose a different value or different symbology. But before doing that, because I like this symbology, so what I can do is save the symbology so I can use it again. So I just click on style, save style. I keep the QML style name, it's fine. And this is already saved, but just for the sake of demonstrating the technique, I just double click here, I overwrite it, it's fine. I just keep the default values and click OK. All right, now let's change this. We're going to change to a single symbol instead of all these categorized values, and I'm going to choose some gray value, somewhere light gray. Okay, click OK. So as you can see that all the states have the same color. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag down this state layer under Sarawak, so it will be covered by the Sarawak layer. And as you can see, I have, this is a way for you to put in value specific features on your map. And here I put in value the state of Sarawak, just to show that I want to, for any reasons, can be for any reasons. So once we have that, other thing that we can do is, I will keep that for later on in the demo. All right. So let's go back to our attribute table and the states. I open the attribute table. I'm going to rename the state layer to state gray. And then I'm going to duplicate the same layer. Then I call it states. To rename, you just have to press on the F2 button. And to apply the previous symbology is very simple. I'll just double click on state's name. And then I go to style, load style. I choose the file name. And I choose the name that we saved earlier, states.qml. Click on OK, open, sorry. Then load style. Click OK. And as you can see now, I have my states back with the original colors. Okay. Let me just turn off the other layers. I'll show you that later. I keep open streetly. Okay, now if I open the attribute table and then I click on field filter, click on NAM, just type Kedah. I'm going to put the table side by side. And if I choose, you see that I've typed here Kedah and I press enter. Now only the records with Kedah will appear, but it has not been reflected on our canvas, meaning that this has not been shown. It doesn't show the Kedah states. So to do that, I can just click on select all. Oops, and then it will be selecting everything even those which have not been filtered out. Okay. So if I have these few states, what I can do is I can select them. Okay. As you can see, the state of Kedah is now selected. And then what I will do is I right click on state, export, and save feature as. I'm going to use GeoPackage, and then I will create, let me just delete this. I don't need it. So I'll just call it States Workshop GeoPackage. Click on Save. Then it will ask me what's the name of the layer I want to call it. Since I know that I want to export only Kedah data, so what I'm going to do is click on Kedah. Type Kedah, pardon me. All right, and here, this is very important. You need to click on Save Only Selected Features. Otherwise, it will export everything. So I click on Save Only Selected Features, click OK. There you go. So now we have, if I double click here, information. I can see that my layer comes from the GeoPackage file. And as you can see that it is just one file, one layer, which represents only data from Kedah. Okay. If I open the attribute table, you can see that the data is only for Kedah. Okay, so far. So now we continue. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the exact same thing with Sarawak. As you can see that the data is filtered, but if I right click and then export, save feature as, I'm going to choose GeoPackage. I'm going to choose the same file. I like to put all my layers in one specific place. And then here it's going to be Sarawak. Click OK. And the state has, the new layer has been uploaded into my layer list. So I can see the data on my canvas. If I open the attribute table consists of records from Sarawak state only. All right. So I'm going to keep these two. I'm going to keep Sarawak state as well. I'll just put it underneath here. Okay. All right, let's see what else is next. So I've shown you how to export that. Now, selecting data interactively, that's another way to select the data for the same purpose. If, let's say we have a project that goes from East Coast to West Coast, and we need to know what are the states that go from point A to point B. So what we need to do is, let me unselect all these states that I don't need, and select Kedah state, and I will just click on this button, the select feature by area single click. So I press on the control button on my keyboard, and then I select all these districts. They don't have to be from the same state. I just know that I need all these districts because it's a certain belt, some projects that we want to do. So what I will do is, now that I've selected these, I open the attribute table, then you can see that some records are selected, some are not. But if I want to see only the selected records, I have two ways to do that. One way is either to move selection to top. Okay, so the first records are the selected records. You can see they're from different states. Or another way will be to show selected features. So we show only selected features. I will close that pivot table, and I want to keep only these districts from various states. So I just right click, export, save feature as. I'm going to keep job package, and I'll go to states workshop, save, and layer name will be project districts. Click OK. Oops, as you can see that it has exported everything because I did not choose the option to select, how to say, to export only selected records. So let me delete this layer. I'll try to overwrite it, but I think I won't be able to do that. Let's just give it a try. So I click on states, right click, export, save feature as, and then I call it project districts. And here I need to click on save only selected features. That was my mistake. Oops, that is a file name. Let me just select the file name. There you go. I click OK. The layer already exists. Do you want to overwrite the whole file, overwrite the layer, or append feature to the layer? This is good. So what I want to do is I'm going to overwrite the layer. That's cool. And as you can see now, I have all the selected districts that have been exported, or the selected features from the states layer. So I unselect states. As you can see, let me just choose some nicer color. Oops. Okay. Symbology, I'm going to use some something, okay, a light color, a lighter color. Okay. And I click OK, and here's my state. I can set some transparency if I want to. So that would be under opacity. I just put 45. That's good. Click OK. And here you go. This is the belt for the project, right? Let's see what's next on our slides. Okay, so this is about selecting data interactively. So I've shown you how you can select data interactively and then export it. You can export it as, you can show selected features only. Okay, I will omit this. Other selection methods I want to show you is if we look at, let me just close this so I can show you how you can get this. QGIS has a very extensive number of tools. You look at processing toolbox, and then you have all the tools that you can use for geoprocessing. And what I want to use is I'm going to talk about some tools, which is extract. This is to extract information from by attribute. Okay, so let's say if I want to extract from the name, operator is equal, and then value, I'm going to use Malacca. All right. And I'm going to show you two methods. One method is to create a temporary layer. So I click on run. Okay, so this layer is wrong. I'm supposed to choose the state layer. Let me choose the state layer. Okay, because I'm extracting from state layer. So I click on run. close. Let's take a look at this. Okay, I did not export because let me remove the layer and give it a try again. Okay, I'm not going to select this. I'm going to unselect everything. So right click. No, so select by attribute. So state, yes. And then under NAM equal, then I put here LACA. Extract attribute in temporary layer. So then I just run this. Zoom to layer. There you go. So it has been extracted and saved as a temporary layer. So what I can do is I can right click and then I can just click on export, save feature as geopackage. I'm going to use the state workshop geopackage file, and the layer name will be LACA from temporary layer from TMP. I just call it like that. I save all. So now it has loaded my file from the geopackage file. So I remove the layer, the temporary layer. There's another way to export the data by extract by attribute. Instead of, let me choose a name again. I'll just put here LACA, same thing, but instead of creating a temporary layer, what I can do is export, save to geopackage. And I use the same geopackage. So now you will ask me what is the layer name I want to save to. I just put Malacca because this is my final layer. We click OK. And then I'll click Run. There you go. So not only it has saved the data, but also it has saved it in my geopackage layer. All right. So other ways to extract data, you can extract the data by location. I'm not going to go in depth on this, but we can do things like to do geoprocessing to check intersection, touching, contains, etc. You have different ways to extract your data geospatially. These are spatial analysis already. So I won't do that. I click on close. All right, and then let's take a look. Anything else we have missed so far? Okay, so I've touched on this. Exporting specific data. So we have seen how we want to export. Once you have selected, you can export your selection if you want to a new layer. Okay, so that we come to the end of this presentation. I'm 6 minutes over the time. Yeah, if you have any questions, please ask. All right, Farida, pass to you.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Ms. Elias, for sharing with us this technique and giving a real-life example. So perhaps it would be a good idea to keep the last slide on display for reference. The link, our email are not available for this session. Yes, this one. Okay, so on this slide, you will find all the contact details. Should you wish to reach out to us, and please feel free to contact us without hesitation for inquiries or to gain deeper insight into our service. And so let's move to the Q&A session. Before we dive into the chat box interactions, so I would like to invite anyone with question for Ms. Elias to ask them directly. So if you wish to do so, please unmute your microphone. So anyone
Yeah.
with question?
Just to start with, there is one question from Nuraiza. After exporting to GeoPackage, do we still need to change the data source? You can keep your data source there, but when you save to GeoPackage, is already a new data source, all right? So it is two different things. It's two separate files, okay? So it's not the same anymore. It's not the same data anymore, right? And yeah, so just something very quickly. When I right click here, then export data, save feature as, I've chosen GeoPackage, but the list of formats that you can use is extensive. So you can use a Z shapefile, AutoCAD, SVG file, geodatabase, and some other formats. You have MapInfo, MIF, MapInfo tab, MicroStation, etc., etc. All right, so it's not only restricted to GeoPackage, yeah? Okay, Noisa, does it answer your question?
We have another question in chat box, as I can see here, from Mr. Chai Kim Tai. Hello, sir. How do we display the background map? Is there any other satellite imagery available?
Okay. Let me just open a new QGIS window so you can see better. Yes, you can use others, and we have an extensive list of maps that we can add, background maps. Some of them are paid, some are free. Just be patient a bit. Okay, there you go. Let me just, this is the empty project. So you just go to the browser. By default, what they give you is, they give you OpenStreetMap, but you can add a lot more. Let's say I have Google Satellite. Okay, I have Google Satellite. Let's see. Okay. All right. So this is a Google Satellite. I have here map also. You can use that as well, but you need a key, and then it's not all the way free. Let me check. Okay, let me turn off. Okay, here is not there yet anymore. Let me just check if there is any other. The one that I like, let me check something. This is the traffic flow by here.com. You need to have a key to be able to display this, an API key. You just register. It is free up to a certain level, a certain number of hits. Okay. I have also open TopoMap. I like this one pretty much. Okay. You can have, if you zoom in, let's see here, you can see better. You have contours. It's also free. To do that, we can put Farida later on in our, because later on we put on our website the video and all these kind of things. So you just put where is the website where you can get all this information, so people can, I don't have it right now, but later on we send via email to tell you that when the video is available. So you will be able to download that. Sorry, to put in. So if you want to add, what we do is you have a link. We call it XYZ link, XYZ tiles. Just right click, new connection. So just give it a name. For example, I'll just call it Google Earth. No, Google Satellite. For example, okay, it should be double L. And then here you need to put in the link, the XYZ link. And from there, you'll be able, when you click OK, then you'll be able to, to display your maps like this. Go back to layers. Let me remove here. I remove all this. I just leave Google Satellite. And let me check something very quickly. If I put Google Satellite and then open Topo Map, if I double click, okay. So I have the Open Topo Map properties, and then I have transparency. If I make it transparent by 50 or 45%, 45, then I click apply. So this is what we have. It's, it is a hybrid of both. So you can play with transparency as well. Okay. All right. I hope this answers your question, Mr. Chai. Okay. TS1, can I have the recording for reference? After this, we will be sending emails to everybody. We have actually previous webinars as well. So you can just view the recordings. And once this is up, Lynn will send an email to everyone to let you know that the recording is available. Okay.
Okay, we still got time for audience. Maybe you want to ask a question verbally. So I still open the session for any question from everybody.
Hi, Mr. Wisco, how are you? Good. Hey, not so soon, not so soon. We are not going to do any satellite imagery webinar. I was thinking to do something in that direction, but not yet. Something, for example, I wanted to show this. If I zoom to layer, for example, this is Australia, the weather grid image. So what we have done is, for example, we have downloaded that. There's a lot you can do with the QGIS. And from here, this is for the weather. We have created some contours based on the grid. So this is 10, it's not 10 meters. I'm not really sure what's the unit. This is just for one of the support cases that we worked on. And yeah, so this is 100 units. If you have the data, the grid images of SRTM, then you will be able to download SRTM data and create your own contour or view the data in 3D as well. Okay. Nice hearing from you again, Mr. Wisco.
All right. Thank you, Michelle.
Right. Ada apa-apa soalan lagi? So, just
Sorry.
I mean, since you're here all, do you have any requests maybe for next webinars, something that you want to see? So you can give us ideas and we can share with everyone. Okay. You can just email to us as well, no problem. Right. With this, on my side, I don't have anything else to add. If there are no more questions, I'll let Farida conclude.
Okay, I think if there is no question from the audience, so we arrive at the end of the today's session. So we extend a heartfelt thank you to those who have already asked and posed their question. So before we wrap things up, so I would like to highlight that if you or your organization have an interest in GIS, QGIS or FME related training, so please don't hesitate to reach out to us via our email. So notably, we are a registered HRD Corp training provider and are eager to explore how we can address your training's requirements and needs. So before we left, now maybe let's take a moment for a group photo Wi-Fi. So if you're comfortable with this, please consider turning on your camera or video to capture this moment. Yes, please, everyone.
I'll be seeing you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for us.
Thank you.
See you again. Thank you, everyone.